Well, they take to this as a continuation upon the Messiah. This is part two. Yes, they take into account that there are two distinguished Messiah. The one which they call the Messiah, son of Joseph, the second one whom they call the Messiah, son of David. Yeah. So having the two Messiahs, yes, having the two Messiahs is also giving us another, it's also taking us to another account of scriptures to study and also to understand whether the Messiahs should be two or the Messiahs are the Messiah is simply one. What are the scriptures of the Sanhedrin? Because the most honored and the most revered the personalities in the theological discussions are the Sanhedrins. They deeply look into the scriptures and they have very complicated discussions over the scriptures, and whatever they are coming out of is well looked upon, well digged, and the result they are coming out is so scriptural, and they are so careful with their results, their conclusions. And this is their conclusion that there will be two messiahs. So at one point, they look unto the Messiah and they claim that there shall be a Messiah who is the Messiah who will be glorious, and there's a Messiah who is a suffering Messiah. So, according to them, the Messiah, the suffering Messiah, will be a Messiah born of a virgin. And this Messiah will enter Jerusalem. Another indication, the suffering Messiah, born of a young woman, and will enter Jerusalem upon a donkey. And this suffering Messiah will be delivered into the hands of the Gentiles, who will kill them violently, what is termed as Yekrit in Hebrew. And this Messiah will be cut off, will be killed, and will leave no generation for himself. That is their calculation across the scriptures on the scriptures that are pointing to the Messiah. So the second Messiah, the Messiah, son of David, is a glorious Messiah. And this glorious Messiah, they say that he will appear from the sky. He will appear from heaven like the Son of Man, the one prophesied in Daniel. So this Messiah that will not be born away. This is a glorious Messiah, an angelic Messiah, will just appear abruptly from the sky, and he will cause destruction to the enemies of God and to the enemies of Israel as a nation. Yes, uh, and he will restore the he will restore people. He will restore the scattered Israelites from the nations and bring them back to the Holy Land, and he will finally establish the everlasting peace to the kingdom of Israel, which will be the kingdom of the Messiah and the kingdom of the divine. So that is the focus of the Sanhedrin in their approach to the scriptures. So we are finally looking into these points and sources, and we are still in the final discussions on who the Messiah and the dynamics of the figure or the messianic figure. Who can he be? And Christians say he'd already come, and the Jews are still expecting the Messiah to come. And Muslim says that yes, son of Mary is the Messiah, but he will come, die, marry, things like that. So the monotheistic religions are not united in the point of Messiah. Every each religion is pointing to its own direction, and the point of Messiah is placed in a value unique to each in individual religion. And so let's discuss on those points and also see from our perspective that where is the Messiah and what are the dynamics of his appearance. So there is something that is unique to Christians, that there was a time that was prepared by God to the appearance of the Messiah. That is what we can term as a timeline. So when we read the scripture from the book of Daniel, Daniel is having a revelation. Daniel, according to me, he wasn't born a prophet, but he was a student of a prophet who had already gone. And according to his study after that prophet, he stumbled onto the 70 Sabbaths. And these 70 Sabbaths are now what Daniel fasted and prayed about, and the revelation came upon them. So what is Daniel saying, or is the timeline according to Daniel in the coming of Messiah? That we'll read from the prophecy of Daniel chapter 9, and we will take it from verse 24. Yes, it says, 70 weeks are determined upon the people and upon the holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sin and to make reconciliation for iniquity and to bring in everlasting righteousness and to seal up the vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks. And 62 weeks the street shall be built again, and the wall, even the troublous time. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself, and the people of the prince that shall come up shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolation are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the ablution of and the ablution and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abomination he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Yes, that is what in the scripture of Daniel. So Daniel is taking us that from the going forth of the decree to restore and to rebuild Jerusalem, and to the time of Messiah shall be 70 weeks. That is the period between the going forth of the decree to rebuild Jerusalem and to the destruction, the time of destruction of the second temple of Jerusalem. In that season, whereby 62 weeks, that is like 62 Sabbaths, 62 weeks of the Sabbaths. So this calculation is taking into account that Israelites has a weekly Sabbath, and they have an annual Sabbath. That's a Sabbath of that after every 6 years, the 7th year is taken into account of being a Sabbath. So when we do with that calculation, then we find that we are having like 77 Sabbaths. It's coming around like 490 years. So when we calculate from the going forth of the decree to rebuild the temple to that age, the 77, the 70 Sabbath will take us from the going forth of that is in the fourth, in the 450s or 440s BC. If you top up the 490 years upon that, then you arrive somewhere around 30 AD. So if the scriptures of Daniel said that the coming of the Messiah, the cutoff of the Messiah, in another half of the last week of those 70 weeks, then we find that the learned scholars of the scriptures were expecting Messiah